Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Low Budget Review Show. Can you see that? I am your host, Eric Smith, and today I am talking about Dust by Chris Miller. This is from Death's Head Press, and it is number 3 in their Splatter Western series. Love these spines. They all look so good together. I'm going to say right off the bat, Death's Head Press is just knocking out of the park with just about everything they do. Their service, their presence online, the books themselves. I've loved all the splatter westerns that I've read so far, and I have the entire series. The other stuff that they put out has been fantastic. They are up there for me with Perpetual Motion Machine Publishing, which is another one of my favorite small press publishers. Did you even notice that I turned the computer a little bit? Anyway, let's get to Dust by Chris Miller. Well, Dust is the name of a town, and we have Mr. James D. looking for this town. He's also looking for a man named Gear Dreary. I think I have that correct. Gear Dreary. So we start off with some violence right off the bat, and we find out we're introduced to Mr. James D. We find out that he's looking for this man and this town, and we get some hints that he's not from around here, and he's not from around this time. He actually will say, he mentions that, yeah, I've been here, just not at this point in time. So he's basically a monster hunter or a god killer. He's going after these sort of elder god kind of things, and he's going to Dust because this object, I forget what they call it, but there's an object that can be used to call this creature to our world, and it'll destroy our world. He wants to destroy the creature, destroy the object, keep the creature from coming, whatever he has to do to keep the world safe. That's your nutshell. So right off the bat, this is, I think, the goriest of the splatter westerns that I have read so far. And I have read 4 of them I'm looking over here and trying to use my bad eyesight. I think there's 11 out so far. I have read 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I've read 4. I believe they're splatter westerns. They're all pretty gory, but this one, maybe it's just because it's uppermost in my mind, but it seemed to be the splatteriest. Yeah, I'm making that a word, if it's not already. This is violent and gory. I love the descriptions of what happens when people are shot, people are chopped, and other things that happen that I'm not even going to get into. So you got that. It's got that going for it. Now, James D., I really like this character. He's got a mysterious past. We're getting most of the information. We're getting everything we need, essentially. But, of course, it's rolled out slowly. Early on, we get those first inclinations that he's not from this time or place. And so he's focused. He wants to find Gear Dreary because Dreary wants to bring this monstrosity into the world. And James D. wants to stop him, wants to destroy the thing that can cause all this stuff, all this chaos. So I really like the story, and I like the character, that's what's important to me. Most important is character. And Chris Miller does a great job of writing his characters. D, we're meeting people along the way on D's quest, and they're all interesting. They're all good or bad. They're interesting characters. And spoilers? No, it's not really. He makes it to the town of Dust, and then the shit really hits the fan. But we're still meeting new characters, and things get crazy, and Miller does a good job of keeping the story moving, keeping us informed just enough. You know, he's not giving everything away right at the beginning. He's going to lead us along, and I like that. It's a fast-paced story with great characters. I mean, I don't know what else to say about that. It's well written. It's gory, and it's fun, and it's you never know who's going to live or die. It's suspenseful in that way, and just another gorgeous cover by Justin T. Coons. He's done all the covers for these, along with covers for a bunch of other stuff. But man, I absolutely love his covers for the Splatter Westerns. Now, this does tie into two other books by Chris Miller that I do not remember the names of off the top of my head, but you absolutely do not have to have read them to enjoy this book. I haven't read them. I'm going to. I'm absolutely going to pick them up and read them, but I haven't, and I've read this, and you don't need to know. You don't need that stuff. You should want it, because Chris Miller seems to be a great writer. This is the second book of his I've read, second one I've loved. But just so you know, it does tie into two of his other books. Pardon me for a moment. Always getting parched. The air conditioning dries out the air. That's going to be my excuse. Or maybe it's just dusty. So there you go. I don't know what else I can say. Great characters, fast-paced, super gory, which is a plus. Just a great story. And maybe we'll see more of James D. I have been saying James, right? For a second there, the name John was in my head, but it is James. Hopefully that's what I've been saying, because I'm not going to go back and check, because I can't edit this. I don't have the software. That's why it's the low-budget review show. I would love to see more James D. in the Wild West. Maybe. I don't know if Chris Miller's going to write any more of these splatter westerns. Oh, there are some Easter eggs that, again, if you know, it's cool. You're like, hey, cool, there's a little thing I know. And if you don't, it's not going to matter. It doesn't bring the story to a halt. It doesn't do anything. It's just there if you're in the know. So there you have it. I gave this 4 out of 5 on Goodreads. I think I gave it 4. I know I gave it at least 4. I don't think I gave it 5. I gave it 4 out of 5. That's what we're going with. You can check. I'm on Goodreads. You can check it out and see what I actually rated it, just in case I'm wrong. 4 out of 5 on Goodreads. Highly recommended. So far, all of the splatter westerns have been great. I'm looking forward to reading more. I have. Let's see. I said there's 11, and I've read 4. So I've got 7 more to read, and there will be more out before. I've already seen the cover, I think, to the next one. So there's going to be more before I get to the end of this. But that's neither here nor there. We're talking about Dust with this wonderful cover by Justin T. Coons, a wonderful book by Chris Miller. I recommend it. Do I have a question? Goodness. All right, how about this? How do you feel about a standalone book that still ties into other books? Does that make sense? So as I said, you could read this. You could pick this up, having never heard of Chris Miller, having never read another splatter western. This could be the first book you've ever read in your life, and it's going to be good. But, as I said, there are Easter eggs, and it does tie into 2 of his other novels. Do you have feelings one way or the other? Do you feel, even if this stands on its own, that you need to go and read those other books? Actually, the next book I'm going to review, you can't see what I'm pointing at, but it's right there, because it's as soon as I finish this video, I'm going to record another one for another book. And that book is actually a sequel to 2 other books. But you don't have to have read them. I don't know what I'm going to do for a question for that one now, because I could have used this question. But anyway, how do you feel about that? Do you care one way or the other? As I said, do you feel once you've read this, you have to go and read the other ones? I know I don't have to, but I'm going to because I loved this one and I loved his other one that I read. So what are your feelings on that? Or do you not care one way or the other? All right, so that's it. That's the question. If you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put them in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post a spoiler warning. We try to be polite here at the Low Budget Review Show. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you care to follow me on other social media, my Twitter is @Ronin5757. My Instagram, where I post pictures of books, comics, board games, and fuzzy animals, is Eric Smith 5757. That's Eric with a K, ERIKSMITH 5757. That's all I've got. This has been the Low Budget Review Show. I have been Eric Smith, and until next time, read more books.